When I think of Killers of the Flower Moon in retrospect, I'm led to an inexorable conclusion that kind of pains me because I'm the biggest fan of Scorsese. Well, I'm a big fan of Scorsese. I won't say I'm the biggest because I'm sure there are others out there who can top me with their Scorsese enthusiasm. But I've been a fan of Scorsese for a long, long time. I really like his work. And at one time earlier in my life, his films almost influenced me into going into film myself. Luckily, I didn't make that choice. Unfortunately, I did make the career choice that I did make, which was marginally better, but not much better. But that's neither here nor there. But here's what I just can't get away from with this movie, Killers of the Flower Moon. It's like, it's not, it's something that's it's like a switcheroo. I was trying to think of the right way of putting it. It's a switcheroo, because I know that a lot of people saw the preview for this movie, and they thought to themselves, "Oh boy, this is going to be totally woke, anti-white crap." Spare me that. Oh no, Scorsese's going woke. It gave that sort of I could see why people would feel that way about it. I think history is riddled with lots of people of all different races doing bad things, and that includes white people. And, when anybody does bad things, they should be held accountable, white people included. So I don't necessarily see a movie that shows poor behavior by white people as being anti-white. It sort of depends on how it's handled. If it's just sort of handled like, this is just typical white behavior, or that's the white man for you, or something like that. Or if if they're trying to demonize whiteness, which is the more the more egregious kind of woke sort of scenario that you find. But the switcheroo, and it's actually kind of interesting, but you have to watch the movie itself to see it. But once you actually watch the movie, all 3 hours and however 20 minutes of it, the stuff you see in the preview is only half the story. So what you see in the preview is these greedy white men going to this Osage, this American Indian community that's accumulated a lot of wealth because they struck oil, going in and doing nefarious things to get the wealth for themselves, and harming the natives who live there in various ways, including murder, and also just scheming their way in, and so that's what you see in the preview, but that's only half of the story. And I think I'm not going to go into detail about the plot, because I recorded a prior video where I did that. So I just want to focus on what's more compelling me now, what I find more compelling to talk about now. The switcheroo comes about halfway through, when the story gets to be less about Robert De Niro's evil character and Leonardo DiCaprio's evil / dumb character. He's more just sort of doing what he's told. He's like a born follower who just doesn't really have much gumption of his own, and he just lets De Niro's character steer his decisions, more or less. Never exactly is explained why he is able to marry Lily Gladwell's character, what she sees in him, other than he's handsome in the Leonardo DiCaprio way of being handsome, but that aspect of DiCaprio is kind of toned down. He's sort of made to look, kind of grubby and not so appealing, even physically. They kind of uglify him for this role. So anyway, the story shifts about midway through, and it becomes about the investigation and what we see happen. And I said this before in my prior video when I said I said that it's actually a pro-white movie. I use that in the title, sort of tongue in cheek, or not without a degree of irony, but just also to get the viewer's attention, because the way the movie ends is with this FBI investigation, and the FBI are totally the good guys. They are, they come in, they do what has to be done. They find the perpetrators, and they see to it that they are punished for their crimes. And there's no moral ambiguity with the FBI. Now, that's kind of ironic, like a movie about Indians, like a pro-American Indian movie, which portrays the FBI positively. I would think that would ruffle some feathers, no pun intended, amongst the American Indian, activist sorts who know stuff about their history and ways in which they were taken advantage of by the federal government. And to see this movie come along and say, that the Osage, these natives were basically completely helpless. They were just going down like dominoes, left and right, and they couldn't do anything to protect themselves. They couldn't do anything to protect their community. And it wasn't until the FBI rolled in and started kicking ass, and the FBI, of course, is all they're all middle-aged white men, or middle-aged or older white men. So it's that's in that sense. I said it's a pro-white movie, but what I'm afraid of, and what I really dislike having to say, is that I'm afraid that this is a stealth pro-Fed movie, which makes me suspect that something has compromised Scorsese in the making of this movie. And I don't like to think that, because I think of Scorsese as a pure auteur, and a man of integrity, and an artist of integrity, somebody who would just wants to give his vision, through his work, and wouldn't allow it to be compromised by outside forces who have an agenda. But if you see this movie, you can't come away without feeling like, wow, this is really a pro-FBI movie. This movie makes the FBI look really good. And the interesting thing is, it makes the FBI look really good to people, the kind of people today who would be most inclined to not be favorable towards the FBI, i.e., middle American whites, middle American conservative whites, who I mean, because in recent years it's been more of a thing of, the FBI and all areas, all the alphabet agencies going woke and basically saying, oh, it's domestic terrorists, white males from the heartland. They pose the biggest threat to our security, and we've got to get tough on them. And that's been what's been out. That's been the vibe that's been out there for the last few years. And so as a result, you've seen, whereas in prior ages, in prior decades, people, conservatives would have respect for law enforcement and even for federal law enforcement. Well, that's definitely taken a sharp turn towards suspicion and disapproval. Maybe going all the way back to Waco and Ruby Ridge, but certainly more recently, since 2016, we've come to see the FBI as being this very speaking of being compromised, as an extremely compromised arm of the federal government, a weaponized form of the federal government that's not just disinterestedly pursuing law enforcement in a disinterested way, regardless of anyone's agendas, but that is clearly trying to enforce a particular kind of agenda. And so now in 2023 they release a movie which is supposed to be about these shady doings, the sort of true crime story amongst the American Indian tribe of the Osage, which is an interesting story. I mean, it's something I hadn't known about before. So, and I think a lot of people, it was new to a lot of people, but it starts as that sort of story, and then it becomes this totally other thing. It becomes this story about how the FBI is so great and can be relied upon and can be trusted, and local law enforcement, the local sheriff, you can't trust them. Like the sheriff in this Osage community is right there with these nefarious perpetrators, in bed with them essentially. But the FBI comes in from Washington and kicks ass, and so I don't know how many people will view this movie, who already think it's going to be woke trash. But if people, maybe they think, oh no, it might be woke trash, but Scorsese is a great filmmaker, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll go and watch it, and then it's like, oh, actually the FBI they're really good. They're really good guys, and it influences you on, if you don't afterwards say, wait a minute, what did I just watch? What was the message that was broadcast in the movie that I just watched? And why now? Why have that message in this movie now at this juncture? If you don't ask yourself those kinds of questions, then you're just left thinking, well, it was this story is probably basically accurate in its historical retelling of events, and the FBI are good guys, so we should trust them because they're probably actually on our side. They're probably they're good middle-aged white family men, just like us. Just like us in Middle America. So maybe we shouldn't be so suspicious of them anymore. Let's be more open to the idea that the FBI can actually do good, and let's stop just thinking about them always as just being part of the problem. You know, um, I mean, the more I think about it, the more that I'm led to that kind of conclusion. Now, have you seen Killers of the Flower Moon? If you have, what do you think? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Interested to hear what anybody has to say. Thanks for watching.